Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, time travel. As a huge science fiction fan, one of my very favorite genres is time travel. Previously on the channel, about the 56th episode, I had a time travel meditation. I inevitably removed it through advice of my higher self because I had people contacting me that were abusing it and demanding results from this time travel meditation. Some people did have results. So I wanted to talk about how to time travel and sort of give some background and a user's guide. It's always interesting to look at literature to understand reality. I believe that some of the very best books I've read are about time travel, which reflects a real thing in consciousness. I love The Time Traveler's Wife, a classic novel, or Stephen King's 11/22/63, or Diana Gabaldon's Outlander, which is an amazing series, Blake Crouch's Recursion, or The Midnight Library, or The Accidental Time Machine by Joe Haldeman. These are some of my very favorite books, and they all talk about different aspects of time travel. It's been imagined on many different levels. What is time, and how can we travel through time? Is it all in my imagination? Well, let's talk about time travel. We, in the past, have talked about time travel through Neville Goddard when he talks about revision, which is essentially time travel. We've talked about it on a variety of levels. One of my very favorite books on time travel is Frederick Dotson's book, Time Travel Through Consciousness and Advanced Technology. One thing we can know for sure, it has been the dream of philosopher and scientist alike, the fantasies of every small boy and girl, and the musings of writers and poets throughout the ages, to be able to shed the shackles of seconds and minutes and hours, to go beyond the confines of today and the shadows of yesterday. Time travel. The very words seem to conjure up the infinite possibilities of the past and future revealed. This might seem like a subject of science fiction, but it encourages much thought in matters both physical and philosophical. A recent paper in Scientific American discussed whether time travel is indeed feasible and why current physical and philosophical objections don't preclude the possibility of time travel. Most scientists who have not seriously studied the works of Einstein, Hawking, and others dismiss time travel as unscientific. On the other hand, proponents of time travel point out that Einstein's equations for general relativity do allow some forms of time travel. In fact, we are all travelers in time at a rate, by earthly standards, of 24 hours a day continuously. This progress at a constant speed in a fixed direction toward the future is never-ending and unchangeable. When referring to time travel, what is meant is any deviation from this steady, unchanging progress. Can we move forward faster, arriving in the future long before our friends who remain plodding along at 24 hours per day? Can we slow our own passage through time and be left behind by our more constant friends? Or, the most exciting possibility of all, we can travel at will, forwards or backwards, through time, like the hero of H.G. Wells' book, Time Machine. Whether by mechanical, electronic means, like the controversial Montauk Project, or by using the untapped powers of the human mind, time travel is a reality that offers mankind the potential of freedom from the limitations of our linear universe. A universe that can now be opened by the fullest, revealing the beauties and mysteries of our existence. Professor Stephen Hawking, the famous physicist, accepted the possibility of time travel. Having ridiculed the concept for years, he eventually said that it was a possibility, even saying the government should spend money on it. Not that long ago, Hawking, who was famous in mathematics at Cambridge University stirred up debate between cosmologists and astronomers when he dismissed time travel. This came as a growing number of astronomers and physicists were speculating that Einstein's general theory of relativity might allow for the possibility. Hawking, however, produced his chronology protection hypothesis, a mixture of advanced science and ordinary logic. Time travel, he said, would allow people to alter their own pasts. You could murder your ancestors or even prevent your own birth, a possibility he considered ridiculous. The best evidence that time travel will never be possible is that we have not been invaded by hordes of tourists from the future, he said. Now, in the foreword to the book The Physics of Star Trek by American astronomer Lawrence Krauss, Hawking recanted to the point of adopting the language of the popular TV show. He talks openly of warping space and of faster-than-light travel. He said one of the consequences of rapid interstellar travel would be that one could also go back in time. Hawking said he still thinks that time travel would probably never be practical, but the seeds of doubt had been sown in his mind. If you combine Einstein's general theory of relativity with quantum theory, it does begin to seem a possibility. He pointed out that research on closed time-like curves, the technical term for time travel, is going on in a number of universities, including Cambridge and California Institute of Technology. He stated that it needs an openness of mind to consider possibilities that might appear fantastic. Scientific debate over time travel goes back to Isaac Newton, who in the 17th century dismissed it completely, claiming that time and space were fixed and immutable. His assertions were accepted until Einstein showed that time and space are closely related and that both are affected by gravity. His theories led to the idea that enormous gravitational fields, such as those flowing around collapsing stars known as black holes, could reverse the flow of time. Dr. Michio Kaku, who you might have seen on TV, a professor of theoretical physics, says, building a genuine time machine will not be as easy as sitting in a chair and twirling a few knobs. Modern proposals for such a machine face one severe problem: the energy supply. He believes that the necessary energy will only be found in fuel sources located in outer space, which still leaves the problem of getting there. As Hawking says, there is a two-way trade between science fiction and science. We may not yet be able to boldly go where no man or woman has gone before, but at least we can do it in the mind. What is time? Time and space have fascinated man since the dawn of civilization. People have spent eons thinking about these concepts and the ideas behind them. The Greeks, the Romans, the English, all have stared at the heavens and wondered about the mysteries of time. Think what it would be like to be able to freely travel down the back roads of time. Maybe to visit a famous event such as a historic battle. Imagine gazing down over the fields of Kent and seeing the arrow that struck King Harold in 1066, or see the Great Exhibition of 1851, or see the crucifixion of Jesus. Imagine walking down the central aisle of this amazing glass house and seeing firsthand the works of art and science from around the world, or to solve a historical mystery. Imagine watching President Kennedy in Dallas on November 1963 to see if anybody really was on that grassy knoll, or to travel back to time where the countryside is untouched by the hand of man. Walking on a summer day through the meadow full of wild flowers down to a bubbling clear stream, or to travel to the future. Imagine witnessing events yet to happen, to see new discoveries and inventions, to see the future of mankind. As the boundaries of science are pushed further back, it is becoming clear that whoever understands the laws of physics best will be able to travel through time and space, easily gaining a dominant position in the unknown universe. Indeed, the race which can travel through time from universe to universe will get to control all the universes situated in time and space. One commonly accepted definition of time comes from the ancient world. It says that time is the measure of motion. This is inadequate for two reasons. First, time is itself insufficient to measure motion, since motion is measured in terms of both time and space. That is, a physical event has both temporal and spatial extensions. Second, it is conceivable that time could be used to measure non-physical events absent of motion. Time is necessary for change, but locative change is restricted to the physical world, whereas some changes occur apart from that or are at least distinct from it. The proposed definition was probably attractive due to the correlation between every motion and existence of time. It fails to consider the dual nature of motion and the broader applications of time. Aristotle made almost the same point when he argued that tying the idea of time to motion alone was problematic and that it should also be considered a measure of rest. If we believe that time moves, then we might have to answer questions such as what moves it and how does it know how fast to go? One strange result that is widely noted but rarely explored is that if time moves and bears some relation to reality, then in some manner it would be the cause of our motion. For don't we say that a deceleration of time would result in our own deceleration, and that if it were to accelerate, we would speed up? Such transformations are considered all-embracing, such that no system of molecular motions, nor indeed anyone's consciousness, is left undisturbed, in which case a variance in the rate of time would have no impact on the relative state of one thing to another. Thus, there would be no way to scientifically monitor such changes. But if time moves, what is stopping it from altering its rate of motion? Popular notions view time as like an ever-flowing river, with the present as a raft floating on this river, and we, as a conscious observer, are riding upon this raft. This past would be what was behind the raft, and the future is what is in front of the raft. That's what I see when I meditate on time. I see a flowing water-like, river-like quality when I observe time as the neutral observer. This view of time, however, is simplistic and probably erroneous. Eastern philosophies have told us that time is an illusion, that the past, present, and future exist simultaneously, sort of a constant state of now. Dolores Cannon, in one of her QHHT sessions that she talks about in her Convoluted Universe series, they state that everything exists at the same time. This is difficult to contemplate for those who have been reared in the Western world. Western materialism teaches that the universe is basically mechanical in nature, that reality works rather like the gears in a clock or a machine. Of course, we know that time as we perceive it is a construct of the mind, brought about by the physical realities of the world around us. The sun rises and sets. The moon travels across the sky, changing its appearance throughout the month. Because of these factors, our condition has dictated that physical reality be broken down into units of measurement: seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, etc. However, these units of measurement are purely arbitrary. They have no real meaning. Space is three-dimensional, but spatially so. This is a strange but significant qualification because we speak of time as a dimension, only a temporal one, and the distinction and similarity is important to recognize. When we read the law of one material, they recognize there is a difference between time-space and space-time, and that the higher dimensions are moving through space as they move through time. In this dimension where all of time exists, you can move through time like it's a space. Though these two ideas are dryly commonplace, we can, even with this as a starting point, begin to notice some interesting points. We said that time is a dimension, but not merely a dimension. Presumably, the predication of the term for time comes from our immediate assumption that it is one-dimensional. While we speak of space as possessing the property of three-dimensionality, we rarely discuss that fact. It may be that when speaking of space, most people are interested in communicating the specific number of its directional extensions and are less concerned with the label itself. For the purpose of this discussion, it is important to keep in mind that it is a type of dimension and that in addition to this predication, it is three-dimensional. Thus, so far, we have declared the spatial and temporal dimensions. Space itself seems devoid of substance. It does not occupy anything, but is that in which things are occupied. What kind of entity can be but be without substance? Perhaps the spatial dimension is no more than dimension itself. This is something that has confounded scientist and philosopher alike. Since time does not seem to have a tangible substance, then it may also qualify for this description. It may be that the best way to understand the meaning of dimension is to view it as a precondition for other things itself, nothing more than an empty container. If space is really nothing, then it cannot undergo modifications. When a thing moves through space, space does not also move. As the temporal dimension, time would really be nothing in itself but merely a precondition for other things. The ordinary perception of the passage of time is an illusion. We are accustomed to inadvertently associating time with the motions of orbiting planets and timepiece hands, a useful practice to measure temporal displacements or motion of things in time. We often think of space as static and time as dynamic. However, in the dimension theory, both are static, for objects move passing through dimensions in which they exist. One may argue that while an object may be able to remain still in space, macroscopically speaking, things cannot remain still in time. But wouldn't a thing be stationary in time if it met the condition that it did not change? If there is no change, then time becomes nothing to it. It is as with space, where one exists without a body. Space would be nothing to it. One would not be in space. If we do not change, we would not experience space and time as we do. Space does not constrain bodiless things, and time would have no purpose for an immutable being. This is exactly what we have been hearing over the centuries from those who have claimed contact with the spiritual worlds. Those who dwell in the realm of spirit say that time is meaningless to them. Only in the constantly changing world of physical reality does time and space have any meaning. According to Jane Roberts, who channeled Seth, time as we experience it is an illusion caused by our own physical senses. These senses force us to perceive action in certain terms, but this is not the nature of action. The apparent boundaries between past, present, and future are only illusions caused by the amount of action we can physically perceive, and so it seems to us that one moment exists and is gone forever, and the next moment comes and, like the one before, also disappears. Everything in the universe exists at one time simultaneously. The first words ever spoken still ring through the universe, and in our terms, the last words ever spoken have already been said. The past, present, and future only appear to those who exist within three-dimensional reality. The past exists as a series of electromagnetic connections held in the physical brain and in the non-physical mind. These electromagnetic connections can be changed. The future consists of a series of electromagnetic connections in the mind and brain also. In other words, in the past and present are real to the same extent. We take it for granted that present action can change the future, but present actions can also change the past. The past is no more objective or independent from the perceiver than is the present. The electromagnetic connections were largely made by the individual perceiver. The connection can be changed, and such changes are far from uncommon. These changes happen spontaneously on a subconscious basis. The past is seldom what we remember it to be, for we have already rearranged it from the instant of any given event. The past is being constantly recreated by each individual as attitudes and associations change. This is an actual recreation, not a symbolic one. The child is indeed still within the man, but he is not the child that was. For even the child within the man constantly changes. Difficulties arise when such alterations do not occur automatically. Severe neurosis is often caused precisely because an individual has not changed his past. A change of attitude, a new association, or any of the innumerable other actions will automatically set up new electromagnetic connections and break others. Every action changes every other action. Therefore, every action in our present affects actions we call past. It is possible to react in the past to an event that has not occurred and to be influenced by our own future. It is also possible for an individual to react in the past to an event in the future, which in your terms may never occur. Because past, present, and future exist simultaneously, there is no reason why we cannot react to an event whether or not it happens to fall within the small field of reality in which we usually observe and participate. On a subconscious level, we react to many events that have not yet occurred as far as our ego's awareness is concerned. Such reactions are carefully screened out and not admitted to consciousness. The ego finds such instances distracting and annoying, and when forced to admit their validity, will resort to the most far-fetched rationalizations to explain them. No event is predestined. Any given event can be changed, not only before and during, but after its occurrence through revision. The individual is hardly at the mercy of past events, for they change them constantly. They are hardly at the mercy of future events, for they change these not only before but after they're happening. An individual's future actions are not dependent upon a concrete finished past, for such a past never existed. The past is as real as the future, no more or less. There is a part of us that is not locked within physical reality, and that part knows that there is only an eternal now. The part of us that knows is the whole self, our inner and outer ego, all that we are. From within this framework, we will see that physical time is as dreamlike as we once thought inner time was. We will discover our whole self peeping inward and outward at the same time and find that all time is one time and all divisions illusions. Our idea of space and time is determined by our neurological structure. The camouflage is so craftily executed and created by the inner self that we must, by necessity, focus our attention on the physical reality which has been created. The single line of physical experience is merely the surface thread along which we seem to travel. In actuality, following this analogy, there would be an infinite number of threads both above and below our own. All are part of one inconceivably miraculous webwork. In order to understand time, we must ask just exactly what is reality? I mean, the name of my podcast is Reality Revolution, but what is reality? Is it a solid something that can be touched and physically manipulated? Or is it something intangible with no more substance or influence than the mist on the spring morning? Beyond the question of whether or not reality is composed of one or more basic substances lies the question, what kind of substance is it? This substance is talked about by a number of New Thought teachers, like Wallace Wattles. On this issue, metaphysics traditionally has been divided between materialists who believe that all reality is basically material or physical, and idealists who believe that reality is spiritual or non-material. Important materialists have been Thomas Hobbes and Karl Marx. Among contemporary materialist theories, especially with respect to the nature of humanity, are analytical behaviorism and the neural identity theory of mind. Major idealists have included Parmenides and Plato, George Berkeley, Hegel. A third major metaphysical issue centers around the problem of permanence and change. Except for some philosophers like Parmenides, who have denied the reality of change, and others like Heraclitus, who have denied the possibility of permanence, most philosophers have attempted to explain change in terms of either mechanisms or teleology. Materialists have tended to take a mechanistic view, explaining change as the action and reaction of physical particles with one another. Both idealists and theologians have taken a teleologic approach, appealing to a spiritual, usually supernatural principle as the ultimate source and cause of all change. Plato's ideal forms, Spinoza's pantheistic God, Hegel's absolute, and the Judeo-Christian versions of God are examples of such principles. Aristotle worked out a naturalistic teleology holding that every individual thing in the universe moves toward a goal inherent in its nature. The modern attack on metaphysics began with the skeptical empiricism of David Hume, who argued that ideas like substance, reality, and mind and causality were not demonstrable. Kant, as well, questioned the possibility of metaphysical knowledge in the traditional sense. In his view, the ultimate nature of reality is unknowable, for the human mind is limited to knowledge of phenomena or appearances. His critiques of the speculative and practical functions of reason significantly altered the course of philosophy. In recent years, many philosophers have come to believe that only the natural sciences can legitimately investigate the nature of reality. Therefore, for many contemporary philosophers, the proper philosophical endeavor is the analysis of language. Among the major metaphysicians remaining are phenomenologists and existentialists whose concern with the unique existing self in the world of which it is immediately conscious stand in sharp contrast to the traditional concern with the nature of total or ultimate reality as it exists within or beyond experience. The thing that's missing that we are now finally starting to talk about is consciousness as it experiences time. Consciousness seems to be the key, the thing that we are forgetting, the thing we are not talking about. The one thing that we can agree on is that our world is a strange and mysterious place. How can we explain the unusual incidents that occur on a daily basis that seem to flaunt the apparent plastic nature of our reality? Mysterious disappearances, out-of-place objects, sightings of people, buildings, even entire towns that seem unstuck in time. All these things show that time is not entirely moving in a straight line to the future, but like a flowing stream is filled with eddies and whirlpools. These whirlpools in time could explain many of the mysteries and unusual phenomena that have confounded mankind over the centuries. It is a sad fact that people disappear every day. Some are escaping from the law, others are leaving an abusive relationship. Children run away from home and vanish into the seamy world of drugs and prostitution. Some people have misfortune to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Then there are those people that disappear and just drop off the face of the earth. In this day and age, with our use of phones and facial recognition software, are all of these people victims of kidnappers or murderers, or could they be victims of a natural event that is causing a displacement in time? While physicists and other scientists look to technology to solve the riddle of time, they have often overlooked the possibilities that are natural conditions that seem to frequently break down the barriers of time and space. Over the centuries, there have been a number of strange stories of mysterious disappearances and the occasional reappearance. People, animals, even cars and buildings have vanished, never to be seen again. It is almost as if holes occasionally appear in the fabric of time and space. Those unlucky enough to be close enough to fall through disappear from this time-space. Almost instantly, some may fall out again, but find that they have been transported hundreds of miles from their starting point. Others, not so fortunate, may instead be transported across the dimension of time, perhaps to reappear months or even years in the past or the future. John Keel has cataloged a number of strange appearances and reappearances in his book Our Haunted Planet. On October 24, 1967, Bruce Birkin found himself sitting in a bus terminal in Newark, New Jersey. He was dressed in a cheap suit with exactly 7 cents in his pocket. He didn't have any idea what he was doing there, nor could he remember anything that had happened during the previous 2 months. On August 22, 1962, Birkin and his girlfriend went to a beach at Asbury Park, New Jersey. He left her to go and put a coin in the parking meter. He was wearing nothing but a bathing suit. When he failed to return, his friend went looking for him. She found his locked car where he had parked it, but there was no sign of Birkin. Birkin's family held a well-publicized search for him, but not a single clue turned up. Finally, they conducted a funeral service in his memory, giving him up for dead. After his reappearance, the young man told reporters, "There's one thing that really bothers me. I have fiery red hair. Where was I that despite all the publicity, no one recognized me?" 7 days before Birkin's still unexplained disappearance, a 37-year-old research scientist named Paul McGregor left his office at the Polaroid Corporation in Boston, Massachusetts, and started out for Camp Kirby to join his vacationing family. He never got there. 1 month later, he walked into a police station in Buffalo, New York, and told them he didn't know who he was. His identity was traced through the labels of his clothes and the inscription on his wedding ring. Doctors at the Meyer Memorial Hospital examined him and said they were convinced that he was suffering from amnesia. What traumatic event happened that these men induced amnesia? Every year, the media reports on cases where people appear with no memory of who they are and where they come from. Often, when their identities are discovered, the amnesia victim is found to have been missing for months and even years and hundreds of miles away from where they were last seen. A Londoner suddenly finds himself in South Africa. A girl from Cleveland awakes to discover she is in Australia. An unemployed Swedish milkman suddenly finds himself on a golf course on a remote island resort for the very rich. None of these people had any idea how they ended up so far away from home. In the book Haunted Universe, D. Scott Rago writes, "Needless to say, the casual reader may not be too impressed by these incidents of mysterious disappearances. I might add that until 1970, neither was I. Like so many others, it was easy for me to sit back complacently assuring myself that eventually a normal explanation would be found for those inexplicable occurrences. What changed Rogo's mind about strange disappearances concerned a woman named Danya. Rogo writes that she was a rather pathetic young girl whose basic pastimes were shacking up with men, partying, and occasionally shooting up with drugs. Rogo got to know Danya in 1970 when she was befriended by an acquaintance named Mark. They spent several weeks together in a little house situated behind some trees on a fairly large lot on the outskirts of Los Angeles. One night in August 1970, Danya went out to a party, leaving a group of friends behind at Mark's house. She returned at 12:15 a.m. People in the house heard a car door slam out in the street, and looking out from behind the curtain saw Danya's dim outline walking toward them. They set back to wait for her arrival, but she never arrived. She had simply vanished at some point during the 150-foot walk from street to the house. Normal explanations for her disappearance seemed unlikely. Although her outline was dim, she was clearly recognized by those in the house. When the people who drove her home were contacted, they testified that they had dropped her off in front of the house and watched as she walked toward it before driving off. She left her belongings at the house and deserted her best friend and traveling companion, who was also staying at the house. What happens to people such as Danya? Obviously, they went somewhere. But since they were never seen again, we can at least tentatively conclude that, in fact, their disappearances were unnatural. They somehow entered or were transported into another time and space. Is this what happens to the hundreds of people who mysteriously disappear every year? Could these people be victims of some kind of skip or hole in time? If this is the case, are there any reports of their reappearance? In researching this episode, I found literally hundreds of amazing stories, books, and amazing YouTube videos that have been written about people that have disappeared and come back. It's clearly a phenomenon, and perhaps I will dedicate an entire episode going over these amazing disappearances and reappearances that seem to confirm some sort of time travel occurring, perhaps accidentally. One interesting phenomenon is in precognitive dreaming. The first groundbreaking book on precognitive dreaming was written in 1927 by J.W. Dunn, an aircraft engineer who was involved in the construction of British military airplanes. An experiment in time, which I first learned about from Frederick Dodson. I found this book to be fascinating, and it creates a foundation for the exploration of precognitive dreams. The book is a classic. As a result of countless experiences, Dunn asked himself whether his dreams are astral travels out of body or indeed telepathy with people who are having experiences at the moment he is dreaming them. After a lifetime of research, he came to the conclusion that neither of these explanations are adequate. His discovery, precognitive dreams, are time travel to the future. They were of things he himself would perceive in the future, not necessarily of what was actually happening. An example, he had a vivid dream about the explosion of a volcano on the island of Moratorius, in which 4,000 people died. On the next day, he read about the event in the newspaper, but he misread, as he later discovered 40,000 had died, not 4,000. His dream journal entry matched what he had misread, rather than the event as it really happened. Dunn discovered that precognitive dreams were memories of the future, events that would happen to him. Of course, he didn't only have precognitive dreams, but the more he researched and focused them, the more common they became. There are essentially 4 different ways that Dodson defines as methods of time travel. There would be dematerialization, which is kind of like what we see in Star Trek. This method dematerializes the physical body into energy particles to rematerialize at another place or time. There is certainly legend, stories like Stargate or Star Trek talk about this. There is a gate, a door or mirror or car that you're driving, and it takes you to another space and time. Then real time machines, as discussed by H.G. Wells. There have been many claims of time travel devices, and it's certainly possible that this sort of technology would be available, but I agree with Dodson that it's not needed to accomplish this thing that we're talking about, that consciousness is the most effective method of time travel. Dreaming, which was established by Dunn as an effective means of time travel, yet you don't really have control over it unless you become lucid in your dreaming. And then remote viewing. This is the method that we can talk about a little bit more as a form of time travel that you can take. Beyond remote viewing, you can take actions in the past, as we learned from revision techniques. And in my experience, it has the effects as if you traveled in time and changed the past. This is what makes me ponder about time travel for this episode. The ability to experience perceptions from dates in time in the past or future is really one of the most fascinating things that I've experienced. To the astral body, time has no meaning. For many, the ability to project the non-physical self out of the body is as natural as breathing or walking. Out-of-body experiences, also known as astral projection or OBEs, are journeys into the astral plane. I do believe there might be a minor difference between remote viewing and out-of-body experiences. In remote viewing, you don't necessarily leave the body, you're simply scanning a place in time with your consciousness. And out-of-body experiences and astral travel means that a portion of your body travels outside of your body to those locations. Astral projection can be done by anyone, regardless of age, sex, weight, or height. The ability to travel through time through remote viewing and astral travel is an important part of our nature. It is something we are called upon to learn, sooner or later. In order to travel in time, we need to know the rules of time. Once these rules are mastered, time can no longer imprison us. Time travel gives the traveler unbelievable powers of perception and understanding. It is possible to experience a heightening of senses that would amaze the average person. Astral time travel will take you on an incredible journey where you can play cosmic detective in your quest to unravel the mystery of the ages. Your journey can take you from the farthest reaches of the universe to the unfathomable depths of inner space. Although astral time travelers usually travel in groups, they belong to no particular race or country. They cannot look at a person who has not yet returned from the future and tell if they are a potential traveler or not. However, when they do return, they will begin to act differently. Travelers are not always natural self-starters. Most require a period of learning. Travel into the past is absolutely necessary because it leads to certain essential realizations that can eventually free one of the limitations of time and space and help the rediscovery of unimaginably wonderful states of being. This is a natural and essential part of the phenomenon of human metamorphosis. The astral time traveler, through the natural progression of their soul, can experience vast arrays of possible futures over many lifetimes. At some point, an astounding realization is made by the soul that all futures are degenerative, usually a point where there are no more viable futures. that the primary lesson learned by experiencing the future is that the act of it somehow violates a fundamental law of balance. The astral time traveler must realize that the future is an infinite number of possibilities. Some are just more probable than others. Although it was necessary for us to experience the future to create a structure in time, the act of doing so has taken us far from our actual natural center in time and has caused us to experience all manner of unseemly realities. It is at this moment of realization that your soul gladly lets go of the illusion of future past and gravitates automatically to a balanced point in transcended present time. Before you try to project your non-physical self out of the body, you should first have an idea pinpointed in your mind on what you hope to achieve. This is called an affirmation. The idea behind affirmations is to implant an intent in your mind before you fall asleep or before you meditate, so that you don't neglect your desire to have an out-of-body experience when you sleep or meditate. Your mind will soon act automatically to induce the out-of-body experience. Our mind easily lets things go when you begin to dream. Things like worries, ideas, thoughts, all seem to just get lost in a mess of strange imagery. By chanting one of the following affirmations, or one of your own, you can increase the chance of keeping your intentions with you. You can say, I'm going to have an out-of-body experience. I'm going to let myself drop off to sleep, but I'm going to bring this waking consciousness with me wherever I go. I'm going to leave my body with full awareness. I will travel the astral plane tonight, going as far from my physical body as I choose and returning whenever I want with complete recollection of the experience. Tonight, I will travel out of body. I am going to allow myself to fall asleep, but I will bring this waking consciousness with me wherever I go. I will leave with full awareness and recall all that occurs upon awakening. Now that you programmed your mind, you start the out-of-body experience process. You can now use whatever technique that you use to induce out-of-body experiences. Before you do anything, it must first be sure you have no fear of it. I meet a lot of people that have a secret fear of out-of-body experiences. You must also be passive, relaxed, and patient. There have been hundreds of books written about how to have an out-of-body experience and the methods to accomplish this. Here are some techniques that have proved to be easiest to master for the beginner. You can try the floating technique. Close your eyes and perform your favorite relaxation exercise. Try to imagine you are underwater and your body is not moving. If you were really underwater in a swimming pool or an ocean, then you should feel your body slowly begin to rise toward the surface. Try to think about what the floating sensation would feel like and try to recreate it in your mind. Don't visualize anything, but rather try to feel the underwater floating sensation. Keep at this thought. Eventually, you will leave your body. There's also the dropping technique. Relax in a bed or reclining chair. Take deep breaths, allowing your breath to slow naturally. Do not force it to slow. Induce sensations of dropping rapidly through the bed several inches at a time. These must be quick drops, not slow sinking feelings. Continue until you feel yourself on the floor and then rise again. Allow yourself to drift toward sleep, pulling yourself back each time. Do not physically move your body. Any physical movements could result in the loss of mental control. You should be now feeling very heavy, and as you drift toward sleep, you'll see images. Use these images or create your own images to focus on and stay aware. Soon you'll feel vibrations. These are mild, and you must remain passive. Visualize yourself floating above your body and feeling the drops. As soon as you have left your body, you'll feel a sensation of rushing air, followed by a temporary blindness and a lightweight feeling. This will take practice, so give it time. Remember, once you are out, move far away from your body, or you may be pulled back in. When you want to return, simply visualize your body and being back in it. Another technique is the rope pulling technique, which I include in my astral travel meditation. Just imagine a rope right there where you're laying in bed and try to pull yourself with your astral body, leaving your hands where they are, pulling yourself out of your body. There's also the creative viewing technique. The creative viewing method is very simple, but it may take several tries before anything happens. It works by guiding you to the awake-asleep line without actually crossing it. an essential step for reaching an experience beyond the physical. Begin by taking an object that you can focus on and placing it so that you can look at it as you drift off to sleep. You can also try taping a picture to the ceiling and using that, but you want to be at a comfortable distance so that it doesn't strain your eyes. Good objects would be unlit candles or small statuettes, stuffed animals, a small mirror, a piece of fruit, a flower, a book, anything that keeps your interest. If you have a small fish in a fishbowl, you may want to use that. Also, blue or violet toned objects will work best because you will practice in low lighting, and reds can be seen well in low lights. Get comfortable and orient yourself so that you are relaxed, preferably laying or half laying down. Wear loose, comfortable clothes. Light should be dim. Stare at the object and you'll begin to get sleepy. Your body will get heavier and lose most feeling. You will feel like sleeping. The key is to fight off the tiredness. Your eyelids will get heavy and you start to close a bit. Keep as awake as you can. Your eyes will eventually close, but you will still be mentally looking at the object. You will see it, and it should seem almost as if you're looking through your eyelids. At this point, your astral and physical are slightly parted. Imagine slowly floating upward or rolling to the side. Don't be alarmed when you separate completely. You should be able to look at your physical body from outside of it. That's when you can congratulate yourself that you're out of body. Remember, the more you try this, the more vigilant you are in staying on the awake side line. Sooner you will have a successful out-of-body experience with this method. If you've mastered lucid dreaming, you can easily use this ability to make astral travel easier and more natural for you. Before sleeping, give yourself a suggestion. Clear the mind and then think something like, I will walk from the dream realm to the astral and then into the past and future. Then focus on that suggestion as you drift into sleep. Once you become lucid, you can use several methods to go into the astral, but the easiest one, when you're first trying it out, is to go to a high place in the dream. As you fall, you will snap into the astral. Usually the first place you'll be in the non-physical is your bedroom, looking at your physical body. Keep your first travel brief so you can remember it when you awake immediately. Before your first trip, be short and successful, then longer and vague or unclear. You want to awake aware of the fact that it was an out-of-body experience and not a lucid dream. Once you master this method, you can start by giving yourself the suggestion and then become lucid in a dream, and you can just focus on your desire to enter the astral realm and you will be there. Manuals of astral travel can be found in any bookstore. Most of these books list various methods of leaving the body, and while these techniques may be fine for honing the creative potential of the mind or for training the symbolic reflexes, most of them have little to do with any sort of real exploration of time and space. True time travel with the astral body is to set the very soul on a course through the potentialities of the unknown universe. Time travel via the astral body is something that should not be attempted by the spiritual novice. One should not try to induce an out-of-body experience unless they are spiritually motivated and equipped to handle the forces of the unknown. A common incident that I've found with people that are exploring out-of-body experiences but not necessarily ready is they wake up frozen in their bodies. It seems like they're paralyzed, and then they get scared because the body takes a little bit of time to come back to itself. Spontaneously, eventually people are okay. People have inadvertently made trips across the time barrier for centuries. They could get visions of the future and the past. If energy like matter is indestructible, then the impulse and vibration of every word and deed ever uttered or enacted might still be echoing and pulsating on some psychic ether. The same kind of paranormal mental mechanism that enables the emotions of certain individuals to permeate a room or house and cause their ghost to be seen by those later inhabitants who may possess a similar telepathic affinity may also cause a certain emotionally charged scene of the past to become imprinted upon the psychic ether and reactivated by those individuals with proper attunement. One interesting aspect to time travel is that located at various points on the planet, it appears there are various areas of energy that create what could be called faults in the time-space continuum. These areas, also known as windows, have a long history of strange happenings ranging from ghosts to repeated sightings of UFOs to Bigfoot, dinosaur-like creatures. Bigfoot and other out-of-place animals that appear one day and disappear the next could be time travel events. Animals from the prehistoric past or The far future could be walking in and out of our reality through time-space doorways that occasionally open and close when conditions are right. This could go a long way in explaining sightings of strange creatures by credible witnesses. These same doorways could also send someone from our time into the past or the future. The problem is, how do we find these doorways? There are literally thousands of these haunted areas situated across the country. Chances are that these are within a couple hours of your home. There are precise geographical locations, and anyone digging into the history and lore of such locations will find hundreds of accounts of ghosts, demons, monsters, paranormal activities, and time slips in these areas seem to be controlled by complicated psychic factors. There is a discussion in Dodson's book on dimensional doorways, and he names some different places that are seemingly gates that you can go to where time travel may be existing. Puerta de Hayumarca in Peru, Meher's Door in Turkey, Tiahuanaco, Bolivia, the Gate of the Sun, Ranmasu Yuana Stargate in Sri Lanka. Those are just some that he lists in his book. And I believe there are energy vortexes, and one of the things we find with these vortexes is an element of time slips happening. It happens on Mount Shasta all the time. It happens near the pyramids all the time. And whenever there's energy vortexes that are discussed, you can be sure that there are time slips happening. So just like with anything, if you go searching for those things, you'll find it. And I believe that if you search for those things correctly, you'll find the different doorways that are available. I could spend an entire hour on claims of time travel that are super fascinating, different people that have claimed time travel stories. I love those stories. There's all these amazing synchronicities from books that have been written in the past that are basically about the future. And it's important to understand the idea of nonlinear causality, that the future could be causing the past. We believe in revision, and we believe something happening in the future. And I believe once you become a locus of control in your consciousness, when you start to travel through parallel realities, I believe that there are parallel realities happening in our present moment that are reflective of the future and past in other realities. And you can travel through different sectors of time by traveling to current parallel realities. I am going to include a meditation that I removed from the channel at the end of this. This is one of my earliest meditations. I definitely talked a little bit faster, but the key idea is that you can locate a place in time by focusing on the orbit of the Earth at a certain period of time, and you can enter into that space and time. I've had a lot of people that found success with this meditative method, and so I'm bringing it back so that you can try this now. You can travel through time. You can change time, and amazing things can happen. And it's important. I want you to put in the comments about your experiences with this, with remote viewing or this meditation. This is the time travel meditation. So I want you to just sit back and relax. Try to keep your spine aligned straight. Breathe in through your nose, deeply, and then out through your mouth. Feel the air come into your body, cleansing each cell, molecule, atom. Each particle of light and energy in your body is cleansed from the highest source coming in to your body. Let go of any concerns or worries that you might have. go of any tension that you have in your body. Any particular part, just focus on it for a moment and let it unwind and let go. Any muscle or bone that's noticeable to you right now, breathe in and breathe out. All the pain and anxiety that's inside of your body. Feel it wash away. Let your light and breath come in to your body. See a ball of light above your head. Feel the ball go into your body, through your head, down through your throat, your heart, down through your stomach, splitting apart into two balls, down your legs, and back up your feet. Back up your legs, back up your spine, through your head. Feeling this light relaxing each and every cell in your body. We're breathing again. Let that last sigh all the way out. Allow yourself to let go. Give yourself permission. Find your 0 point, that perfect point, where your body can heal. I want you to remember all the love that you've ever had in your life, from anybody that's ever given it to you, all the love, all of it at once. Stack it, layer it on top of each other, over and over, all the love. I want you to feel it, and I want it to spread throughout your body. And as you feel this love spreading out, cleansing you of all worries and concerns, you begin to let go just a little bit more. Move your hand up to your nostril. Hold in the right side of your nose and breathe in through the left side. Now move your finger as you hold in the breath to the left side of your nostril and breathe out through the right side. Now, breathe in to the right nostril. Just do it for as long as you can, and then breathe out through the left nostril. I want you to continue doing this, breathing in through the left nostril, and then back out through the right nostril. Continue to breathe in through your right nostril, and then back out through your left. Balance out your solar and lunar energies in your body. Continue to do this, and you'll feel more at ease with the light energy that when mixed together is wonderful and beautiful. Imagine as you continue to breathe in, and then breathe out through your right nostril, or whichever one you're on, and then in again through the right, and out through the left. As I talk, continue to switch back and forth. Imagine that each one nostril is breathing in the energy from the universe above, and that the other nostril is breathing in the energy from the earth below. And as you release each separately, you begin to balance both forces of energy, as the energy that comes up your body and the energy that goes down your body. And as you continue to breathe in, through your nose, feeling the balance of these forces, watching the flow of energy coming up through your body and down through your body. See the energy flows in correspondence as you pull in the air with your nose, and I want you to continue to do this. The next step to traveling through time will be to amplify this energy. Now that we've done both and we've balanced this out, I'm going to let you do this for a little bit longer, watching the energy coming into your body, going up and going down. Now, we will do the fire breath. We will pull in the maximum amount of energy we can into our body and blow out any negative energy that's in our body. We pull in light and reveal the light within us as we pull it in, and we will blow out the darkness, breathing in and out 30 times. Feel the energy bubbling up in your body, filling each and every cell, synapse, neuron, all the chemical interactions firing in your body. Feel the energy grow inside of you. Feel it deep inside. Feel the energy in your hands, your arms, your legs. Feel it flow through your body, flowing through all the obstructions in your body and parts of your body holding emotions. Feel it flow and just let it cleanse your body out. You have this joy that begins to build inside of you. This happiness that's always there, this happiness just to be alive, it's there, letting it fill up your body. And now we're going to pull this energy to the top of our head. We will escape the limitations of our body. So what we will do now is we will pull the breath from our lower chakras up to the top. We will tighten our muscles and we will pull it up, doing the Kundalini breath, pulling it to the very top of our head. You will tighten your perineum and your floor, the muscles that you use to release. You will tighten those muscles and you will pull the energy up as if you're doing the opposite of going to the bathroom. Pulling the energy up with all of the muscles in your body. Tightening your anus, your abdominal, your lower abdominal, pulling your stomach in as far in as you possibly can, as close as you can get to touching the spine. Pulling the top of your head, pulling the chest, feeling the energy go up, leaping through your heart to your throat, pulling it like a straw all the way to the top of your head. And I want you to roll your eyes up to the top of your head and look at that point. As you pull this up like a straw, pull it up as much as you can. If you have to use your regular breath, then do it, but it should be done with the nose. Hold it there. If you can pull up more, pull it up until you cannot pull up anymore with whatever breath that you have, and let it sit there and pool. And hold it there, tightening your muscles, squeezing your third eye all the way up to the top of your head. Hold it. Fight your body. It's going to want to release it. It wants to have the normal energy back. But you're pulling it, and let the energy pool. And now release and relax for a moment. And now tighten your perineum, your abdominal muscle, your upper abdominal. Pulling your line, pulling the spine up, aligned straight up to your head. Feel the energy flowing upward. Pull it up from survival to creation. And letting go of the chains of the past. Pulling that energy up to the top of your head. As much as you can. And now I want you to hold it. Keep holding it. Just a little longer. And now, relax. We're going to do this one more time. Contract your muscles. Pull them together. Tighten them. Tighten your sphincter. Pull up your muscles and tighten and pull up your energy. Pull it in as much as you can. Overcome the limitations of your body. Do not let your body be your mind. You have the power to do this. Pull all of your energy to the top of your head. And now I want you to hold it there, looking at it. Watch it. Feel it accumulating. Pull it as much as you can. Ride the wave. And now, relax. Relax. Be. Tune in to your energy body. Feel the part of your body that is separate, that can leave the body. And now, for a moment, I want you to simply exit your body and look down upon it as you sit in meditation. Access your senses outside of your body. Become aware outside of your body. Now go back to your body for a second, and I just want you to become aware and to expand your aura. This will help you become aware of the area outside of your face. Go out a couple inches outside of your neck and feel that area. Just feel it. I want you to reach out and feel it. Feel the outside of your legs and your feet. Very good. Feel the energy field around you. When we move through time, we move within this energy field. As you become tuned into it, you can identify your own frequency and signature. This frequency and signature has a homing beacon inside of your third eye. In all times, in all dimensions. You can access it at any time and go in through this place. In this multidimensional gateway, you have access to all of your past. You can look at it, you can feel it, and you can go to it. Now I want you to go through this quick exercise. Look up and to the left and back in the middle. Look down and to the right and back in the middle. Look down and to the left and back in the middle. Look up and to the right and back in the middle. Look straight down and back in the middle. Now look straight up and back in the middle. Look straight over to your right and back in the middle. And now straight over to your left and back in the middle. Now, gently rest your eyes at a 45-degree angle upward. This will continue to slow down your brainwave as you do this and help you to access beyond alpha into theta and then to delta. Become aware of your energy field. Become aware of it. This is how you will find yourself in time. To truly travel through time, you need to go through space. And so, I want you to leave your body. If you simply have to do this visually, just imagine then for a second, moving out of your body and looking down upon the place where you live or wherever you're meditating. And now I want you to go higher still and look at the entire town that you're in. Look at the entire state or province or large community or country. Look at it all and then move out into the country and look out into the whole world. Look down on it. It is vast and huge and beautiful, and you are in space. Now, continue to move outward till the earth becomes smaller and smaller. Keep going. How far can you go? Way out beyond our solar system, beyond our galaxy. Touch the very edge of the universe. Go to its very depth. Every cell and atom in your body at one time was made of stars, and at one time was a part of the very beginning of the universe. You are interconnected and entangled with every piece of matter in the universe. You have a memory deep inside of your body, of every cell, of every piece of energy. And with that is a time marker. And you can access this by going into any cell. You will continue to relax. Go in to the area around your eyes. Shrink yourself down to the tiniest that you can. And I want you to go into the crystal that is inside your third eye. Inside your third eye is a crystal. It conducts electricity, but inside of it, it is shielded from the effects of time. Inside of it, you can see other versions of yourself that travel to this place. You can share information, but it's a place that you can go that's a neutral area for all the time that you can visit. I want you to go there now. I want you to focus on that. Very good. Now, inside this area, there's a portal. You will travel through this portal, and on the outside you will be in the lake of time. Any actions that you take will have ripples that go forward and backward in time. You can take actions inside this lake. So what I want you to do right now, see the room that you're in, this crystal room, and at some point in some wall, I want you to see a doorway. It may not be a doorway, but we can change the very particles of the fractal geometry in this dimension to make it whatever it appears in your mind. In your mind, it will be understood as a doorway. So it may be much more than that, but I want you to walk through this doorway. And when you walk through, on the other side is a gigantic lake. And it's all of time in one place. All of time exists in one place. All right. First, what we're going to do is we're going to travel to the time of your birth so you can remember and see what it was like when you were first born. It's a wonderful trip, and I'll take you there for just a brief moment, and I'm going to use this to teach you how to travel through time. You may be able to travel past and beyond this point, but for our purposes, it is much easier to travel through your timeline, and it starts when you were born. That's the first point where you can begin. Now, the way that you do this, once you're in this lake of time, I want you to see the rotation of all the planets in our solar system, moving around, going around the sun. Understand, as we move through space, the sun is pulling our entire solar system with it, like a squadron of ships. Because as we move, so do the planets move. We are moving in a specific direction in conjunction with the sun. You don't need to be a mathematician, but once you get into the rhythm of this, you can travel to any point in time. The Earth goes around the sun, and at the same time, it is constantly moving. There is a place in time that the Earth exists. For us to find the time, we must become entangled with the version of ourselves at the exact location where the Earth is. You will leave your body and you will jump and you will travel to that point in time where the Earth is, spinning on its axis in perfect rotation as it moves around the sun, as all the planets move around the sun. And you can find an exact date, find the exact date, and then tune in this area. This area has all of the mathematics and the information built into it, so that once you tune into this, you will know the exact location that you can go in time. And while you're in this meditative state, you can access your body at any given point in time. And you can take actions. At first, it may seem as if you're simply dreaming it. But once you take the action, a ripple will come through time, changing the events around you. It may be minor. You may notice minor changes in the world around you. So the first thing is we need to create a roadmap of time. The first place you must go is the point of your birth. So what I want you to do is find that place right before you were born, inside your mother's womb. And I want you to simply imagine what it would be like to be inside your mother's womb. The sound of her heartbeat, the feeling of connection as your tube is connected. What position were you born in, and how did you come out? The feeling, the momentary sudden rush of air as you're pulled out of your mother's womb, as the air hits you, and you can feel the vibration of your voice begin to cry out. Is it joy, fear, or happiness? Whatever it is, you know. It's not important that it is entirely accurate, for this is your first jump. Pull in the energy. Imagine the time of your birth as closely as you can. If you know the exact time, that's the exact location of the Earth. And while you're in this void, in this perfect lake of time, you can exact the exact location. Use the lake to swim to that exact location. Briefly, you will see a destination point and move towards it. I will give you several moments to come into possession of your body as it's born, to see the light of it. And I want you to feel this. I want you to remember it and become it and become in sync with it. This will give you the earliest point that you can travel to and a way to recognize your frequency and signature in time. Vibrate into it. Feel the vibration of it. just come back to your body. You can swim back. The better you get at this, you'll instantly just come back to your body. You can use the lake as a transportation medium from one place to another. The lake is a symbol of the information that you need to find the exact location. So now, I would like to go to your earliest childhood memory that you remember, something significant. Whatever it is, we're going to briefly go to this moment. If you see yourself, then it's different. This is through your own eyes. Tune in. You do not have to have the exact date. If you have the memory, that can be locked in the area that we're in. So find that place and go to your first childhood memory. All right, come back through the lake of time, back to your body now. Let this information and the feeling of it soak in just for a moment. I would like you to go to a time in your childhood, the happiest childhood experience that you've ever had. See it through your eyes and feel it. Go back to your memory of it to start. Find the memory of it in you, and the memory of it will guide you to the exact time. And I want you to feel this memory. Let it flow through, the joy of it. Maybe it was a birthday party or a trip that you went on. It can be anything. Your happiest moment of your childhood. Now, go through the same exercise that we've done before. You can swim through the lake to the point. Once you get there, access the information. If you find it easier, now that you've done this several times, to simply jump right to the point, you can do that. So go to the happiest moment that you've ever had, and I want you to experience this. This time, I want you to give yourself the ability to make decisions in this time. Don't make any major decisions. Enjoy this. But I want you to live it as if it's happening in the moment. And whatever decisions that you make in this time, they could affect your future. But for now, I want you to be in that moment. Feel it. Find your body. All right, come back. Is there something that you want to change from your past? I want you to find a time from now and through high school, whatever time it is, that you want to change. I want you to think of something that you want to change desperately, that you want to change, that you wish you would have done differently, some mistake that you made. I want you to go into that experience of the past that you regret up to about 18 years old. We'll do a couple different versions of this, but for now, just do this. I want you to swim to that moment, and once you enter into your body and you can see through your eyes, I want you to change what you did, and I want you to follow what happened. You may find yourself skipping to future moments once you become tuned in to your ability to travel in this lake of time. So right now, I want you to go to that moment, and I want you to change it. I want you to do something differently, something different than what you did before. Very good. Now come back to your body. Now, I want you to pick another moment, any time in your life. No age restriction. I want you to swim to that moment, and I want you to change it. I want you to do something differently. Swim to that moment and try something different. Find that location. Tune in to it and change it. Now come back to your body in the present time. As you sit in your present time, connected to this lake and to the infinite variety of what's available to you. I would like you to go back over the last month, and I want you to change something that you did. I want you to see yourself doing it differently. Something that you want to change that you didn't do in the last month. I want you to just do something differently. This where something you may see a change in your environment. I want you to really tune into it. Find that place and change whatever it is. Now jump back. Now as you swim through the lake, I want you to find that time a week ago. Something that you did in the last week that you'd like to change. it's something physical that you may want to see. It may be hard for your body. Your body may be so scared of this that it'll jump to a reality where it didn't happen. You have to believe on some level for major changes that you make. But you can still make these changes. So I want you to find one more thing in the last week that you want to change. Find it. Tune into it. All right, come back to me. Your brief time traveling experience has been brief so far. You've made some minor changes. They may seem major. The ripples have begun to flow backwards and forwards into time. Now, I want you to look into your future. Going on your current timeline, I want you to move forward and see yourself. If you don't change what you're doing now, I want you to see what will be happening 10 years from now. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. You know whatever it is, and who knows what that place will be. But I want you to jump forward 10 years on your current timeline and get as much information as you can. Just swim through to that location and find out what you need to know. Very good. Now, I want you to go ahead 5 years from now on your current timeline. You should be getting better at it by now, and it should be faster, almost an instantaneous transmission to that place. Where do you live? What are you doing? Get as much information as you can. Who are you living with? Who do you see? Sometimes the information may be hard to understand. Get as much information. What do you see in the place that you're at? Now come back. I want you to go ahead and look at your 1 year from now and see on your current path where you're going to be 1 year from now. Now come back. Now I want you to look at what will be happening for you 1 month from now on your current path. Come back to your body. Now, let's make a change, something that you want to change for the future. If there's something that you get rid of or that you completely stop or change, you know what that is, whatever it is. Let's pick one thing out and let's find out what happens to that new future if you make this change. This will to be informational for you. It doesn't lock you in. It just gives you information. So I want you to think of something right now that you change. And we're going to see what happens a couple different ways with it. So think of something that you want to change, something you really want to change. Imagine it changing it. And now, I want you to see how your life would be in 1 year from now. And how will your life be 5 years from now? Jump ahead, swim through to 10 years. What do you see? Very good. Now, if there's any new thing that you want to start doing, whatever that thing is, some new thing that you want to start, if you were to start doing that today or tomorrow, see how your life will be in 1 year. Tune into it. Get as much information. Feel it. Experience it with all your senses. Now, I want you to go to 5 years from now. Experience it. Come back to your body and now go to 10 years. See what this new thing, if you started doing it right now, what would your life be like 10 years from now? Perfect. Come back to my voice. Come back to the present. Now, we're going to go to the very end of your life on your current path. We're going to jump forward. That's great. Now come back now. Get a lot of information at the end of your life. But I want you to look at one more option, and that is the highest possibility for you. There's a place at the very end of your life where you find your greatest potential, and whatever it is. There's many ways to get to this point. But I just want you to see the potential that is available for you. There's an alternate timeline that if you give yourself the confidence and belief that you believe in the power of your mind, and you use the techniques of meditation and programming your reality, what kind of reality can you have? Jump to that for a moment and fill yourself up with that possibility. Very good. Now come back to your body. I want you to take the next few minutes to soak in as much information as you can. And as you sit here, you have full access to the lake. What questions do you have? Do you want to change something in your past? Do you want to know something about your future? These next moments are yours. They're yours to adjust your past or to find out about your future. While you're in this place, now that you've practiced, you've accessed the beginning and end of your life, you can tune in to the frequency of your body and find the exact location in space, in time, by all grids and by all axes, through this powerful lake filled with all of time and the information of everything. You're free to travel through time. Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? What do you want to change? You have full access to all of time. Complete access to all of time. You free. Get used to your body in this time. You've traveled through several different bodies. I want you to tune in and get used to this body, becoming aware of all the details, and I want you to soak this in. Feel it. You've traveled your entire timeline in this meditation. You can come back anytime and you can do the same things. You can change your past. You can change your future. The final command that I give to your subconscious mind as you listen to this meditation at all times, you will automatically begin to send thoughts into the past to warn you of major events. So as they happen again, you will avoid them. Pitfalls, accidents, mistakes, anything that you can think of. You do not have to remember to tell yourself to fix this. You will automatically begin to send thoughts back into your past to warn you of future events. You will suddenly find yourself having hunches and intuitions. Remember, that is you sending messages back to yourself. I have programmed this into you in this deep state. You've accepted this command, and you will now begin to automatically communicate into your past. You are now automatically communicating with your past on a regular basis, improving yourself, giving yourself better decisions, avoiding mistakes, automatically fine-tuning, adapting, changing, and growing, advancing above and beyond anything that you once thought was possible. Now come back to your body, and I want you to take a breath and begin to become aware again. You can feel yourself and your essence coming back. That's right. If you're going to sleep, you now have the deepest and most wonderful sleep. If you're going to your day, you will take this information and it will transform your day. You will have a fantastic day, knowing what is possible for you in your future, and knowing that you are being constantly communicated with from your very self, guiding you to the best possible outcome. I send out my love to you. I send out my energy to you to bless you for whatever is to come. Now that you have found your greater power, your greater purpose, welcome to the reality revolution.